Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Continuously Refined.
I'm Sicily.
And I'm Shayna. And today we have a really, I think, exciting episode. Also, we got new mics, we got a new setup.
Yeah, we're filming for the first time,
Hey!
so
Yeah, lots of new things. Hoping to, just make the podcast better,
yeah.
continue to refine our podcast. But yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of overall talking as we kind of come into like the fall and winter season about like getting sick and natural remedies for that. But before we start, there's been kind of a term going around social media, and like we've all heard the term granola or the
Yeah.
term crunchy. And I think like, okay, these are kind of words that are used to describe like us and how we live our lives.
hmm
But this new word, I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't.
I brought it up to Shayna the other day and I was like, have you seen the trends? And like, we've talked about all the trends of the traditional wife, the trad wife, like all of that stuff. But I was like, have you seen what they're like calling like essentially like people like
Us.
us? And you were, and I like used the term, and the term is earthy. So like they're like saying that like people like us, and that's like essentially are considered earthy. And I like mentioned it to Shayna, and I was like, "Have you heard that yet?" And you were just like, "Wait, I don't think that describes us at all."
I was like, no, I hate that word. Like, we're so not earthy. And then I start like, now all of these reels are coming up on my Instagram, and I'm like, crap,
Yeah,
we're
we're a
earthy.
1000% earthy
But I still
people.
don't, I don't know. I don't like the term, but like in the way that social media has been using it, like that's exactly how you would describe us and our way of living
Yeah,
and very natural, holistic, like eating whole foods, getting sunlight,
yeah.
walking barefoot. Like,
It makes sense when you think about it in the way of like we live our life trying to get the most from the earth.
yeah.
Right? Like we're trying to get all the plants from the earth. We're trying to be barefoot and get our pH levels from the earth. Like we're
Yeah.
trying to get the food that comes directly from the animals as like raw as we can get it, like things like
Mhm.
that. Like then it makes sense. But I don't know who started this because it gives like kind of like a hippie, like granola energy,
Yeah.
which we are like
I don't think
not.
we're hippie at all. But
No.
if you look at like the things that we do in our daily lives, like
Yeah.
it's so opposite of society's views. And so
Yeah. So
there's
I
the
guess we're
term.
earthy.
Guess we're earthy. This is a new identity I'm taking on, I guess. The identity of being earthy.
Yeah, we're just gonna own it and we'll play into it, you know? We're like earthy now, I guess.
And
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
keep cleaning my sink with baking soda and lemon?
Yeah. See? Products from the earth. I don't know. Although then I sent you the thing yesterday about baking soda
Baking
and
powder.
baking powder, yes.
Yeah.
And how it now has all this like stuff in it, whatever. That's just a whole nother thing. But it's what we talk about with the ingredients thing
Yeah.
all the time.
Just read the freaking ingredients.
There's like multiple ingredients in something like a baking powder, and I never even thought about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter really. Are you getting your food from Whole Foods? Are you getting it from Sprouts? Are you getting it from Kroger? Like
Yeah.
you have to read the back of everything, just so you're aware of what's going in your body
Yeah. True.
because it's crazy. So today we really want to talk about natural remedies, versus like over the counter. And I
Yeah.
think growing up and the way that our parents raised us, it was like you had a sniffle, take this, what it would take like Motrin or like a
Yeah.
cough syrup,
Tylenol
cough
or
syrup,
something.
Tylenol. And that was just like what you did. You went
Yeah.
to
The
the
grape cough
doctor.
syrup. I feel like I
Yeah,
had that all the
all the
time.
time.
I don't
And it
even know
was
what
like
it was.
I was taking like my gummy vitamins like once winter hit because everyone in the class had coughs. And now that I've done more research and I've turned to more like natural holistic things,
Yeah.
there's so much more that we have access to that we don't need to add all this fake chemical stuff into our bodies. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. And I would just say too, like, I know we kind of talked about if you've listened to the episode where I went through my whole story, but a lot of my gut health and issues kind of come from being on so many different antibiotics as a kid.
Yeah.
I was so sick when I was younger. I had pneumonia a couple times when I was really little, and they just put me on antibiotics and anything that they could in the hospital. And not that that's necessarily the whole reason that I'm like messed up today or that my stomach has issues, whatever. That's such a bad way to put it. But like that is such a big thing because it does destroy so much of our gut and so much of our bodies. And so we just kind of wanted to talk about like this is flu season and it is cold season. And with the weather changing, like I personally get sick all the time. I have a lower immune system. It's just not great. but there's other ways that I can heal myself
Yes.
without just taking Tylenol and all these different things.
And our bodies are like so incredible. Like
Yeah.
our bodies and the things that they are capable of doing is incredible. And so like we were meant to be able to fight off viruses, disease, bacteria, and we just sometimes need to aid our body in that. And we
Yeah.
sometimes just need to give our body a little bit of boost in that rather than trying to put a band-aid over it and cover up our symptoms. Because when
Yeah.
you take those over-the-counter medications, you're really just covering up the symptom. You're
Mm-hmm.
not helping your body fight the disease or fight the infection. And so kind of what we're going to hone in on today is like things that we can implement into our diet or our lifestyle that
Yeah.
help aid our body and give it like that boost to be able to fight it on its own
Yeah.
because we can,
Yeah.
which is such a cool thing.
Yeah, and there's so many natural products that we can use. So
Mm-hmm.
to start, like when you're starting to originally feel sick, there's so many different things you can do at that like first sign. I think we all
Yeah.
know like you start to feel sick. It's like a Sunday and you're like, oh, like I'm feeling run down. Like,
Get the scratchy throat.
yeah, you know it's coming and you're like, crap, I have this later this week or I have that. Like I don't have time to be sick. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm the queen of that. And then like then it I get stressed. And so then it activates my stress hormone, which
Uh-huh.
makes it worse.
Yeah.
But there are so many things that we can do to just start kind of preparing our bodies of like, okay, like you are starting to feel sick. You can do these things.
Yeah. And like some of the really big things that like I do right off the bat is like drinking a crap ton of water,
Yeah.
like making sure your cells are super, super hydrated in fluid so they can then fight off the bacteria and like trying to rest and get sleep, cut
Mm-hmm.
back on the workouts, cut back on like the walking to class, maybe drive to class, like cut back if you're hanging out with friends. So I'd say like the first two things I do is drink water and get rest.
Yeah. I'd say rest is the number one thing. I mean, even when we were doing our research for this episode, everything we looked at, the first thing that came up was get rest, like slow down, get rest. That's just, it's what your body needs to recharge and to
Mm-hmm.
like produce cells to fight off whatever infection you have or illness you have. Another one that's really big for me is I'm a huge fan of essential oils. I think this is an earthy part about me, but I fall asleep to my diffuser every night. I just love my essential oils. And so I'll use eucalyptus a lot. I'll
Mm-hmm.
take a detox bath and use Epsom salt and put eucalyptus oil in there. I'll put eucalyptus oil in my lotion and put it on the bottom of my feet
Yes.
because your feet have the biggest pores and those can really help you to just like fully absorb not the nutrients of the essential oils, but kind of the same vibe of that.
Yeah, like the essence that it's giving off of like
Yeah.
calming your body and healing. Going off of that, something I do like when I really start to kind of feel like I'm getting sick is sleep with a cut up onion next to my bed.
Yeah.
And this one is so out there, but like if one of my roommates is sick or I get sick, I'll put like bowls of onions around the entire house
Mm-hmm.
because onions are like a massive absorbent and so it'll literally like suck the toxins out of the air. And I do this like I'll sleep with it next to my bed and yes, it is like an extremely potent smell, but it sucks all of the gross gunk out of
Yeah.
you. And then going back to like the pores on the bottom of your feet, you can also sleep with cut up onions in your sock. Again, so earthy of me, but I have like seen the biggest difference when I start to get a
Yeah.
stuffy nose. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put chopped up onions under my feet. And again, it like sucks the toxins and the bacteria out. So definitely would like recommend that. Another big one if you have allergies or with the changings of the season is raw local honey. So honey has it's full of like nutrients, minerals, enzymes, and amino acids that reduces inflammation in your body and also increases your immunity. So when you get it raw, that means it's like coming right out of the honeycomb. It's not
Mm-hmm.
processed at all, but then it's local because depending on where you are, your honey is different and it has different nutrients based on what you need,
Yeah.
which is so cool. And it also goes back to like eating local foods because based on where you are and the allergens in the air or the seasons, the nutrients in the food is different. So raw local honey is another great one.
Yeah, it's honestly when you don't think about a lot and allergies for me personally were something that I didn't ever get until I came to Texas
Yeah.
because I was introduced to all these new things. Like, I've lived in Chicago my whole life. Like I never had issues with allergies. Like I was always like fine with the changing of the seasons. Like you'd get the natural like cold that everyone gets, but now here like I genuinely have allergies, and so that's such a helpful tip of have your raw local honey because that'll help you combat those allergies so well.
Hmm. And then ginger is really great. So like hot water with ginger, honey and lemon. If you have like that sore throat, it's really
Hmm.
soothing. And just to kind of like make it feel better.
Yeah.
And then a big trend that went around last fall season and is something that I am doing again is fermenting garlic and honey. So you
Hmm.
like peel apart the garlic and you leave it in honey and you have to let it sit for I think it's about 6 weeks. And
Okay.
then you can start to use the honey and the garlic, by letting it chop and rest, it activates health promoting components like, I'm going to butcher this word, allicin, and then antioxidants and antibiotics. So having that garlic paired with the honey, and as it's fermented and releases those nutrients, it really helps boost your immune system and can help fight a cold, and you get over it like that super
Yeah.
quick.
That's one I still need to try. I always say every season that I'm going to do it, and then I get sick and I'm like, oh, I wish I had it, but I hadn't made it previously.
Yeah, you got to
So if
prep
you
it.
want to do that, get ahead of it
Mm-hmm.
and do that one early for sure.
Yes. And
And
then elderberry.
yep.
I've never used it, but I know you have.
Yes, I'll buy literally just the elderberry gummies from Trader Joe's. Sprouts has them. A place back home by us called Fresh Time. That's where I first started getting them. But those are a staple at home in our household. They just provide support to your immune system essentially. So they're super easy one. Just add to your vitamin, your supplement routine. Just take an elderberry gummy, and that'll help boost your immune system off the bat, even before you get sick.
Yes. And then when you are sick, you can do like you're big on the aromatherapies, like
Mm-hmm.
putting essential oils into your diffuser, really to like open up your sinuses.
Yeah.
That's super helpful. You use eucalyptus. How do
Yep.
you use eucalyptus?
I'll put the eucalyptus in oils and you can, or in lotion, and I'll put that sometimes on my throat or chest. That really helps to like open up and help with my breathing. Or I'll just put it in my diffuser when I go to bed at night. That's super helpful because then you're like smelling the air around you, and it just really helps to clean out your sinuses.
And one of the biggest tips, like every time someone tells me, like, oh, I'm feeling sick, I am sick,
Mhm.
I'm like, you need to boost up your vitamin C,
Yeah.
whether that is drinking orange juice or eating spinach or getting outside with the vitamin D too is another really
Hmm.
big one. And like sitting in the sun, you really need to boost up your both vitamin C and vitamin D as well.
Yeah. Another big vitamin C one that I always forget about are bell peppers.
Yes.
Making like a roasted bell
Uh-huh.
pepper soup or a roasted tomato soup when you're sick, there's really nothing better because you want that soup and you want it to feel good on your throat, but also you get so much extra vitamin C through that. So even if you're making a tomato soup, throw in a bell pepper or two
Mhm.
or make a roasted bell pepper soup. It's so easy and it's a really easy way to get some extra vitamin C.
And it tastes delicious. You had mentioned earlier kind of a detox bath,
Yeah.
something that I am super not familiar with. So, what else can you put in your bath to like make it detox, and how does that help?
Yeah.
Like you feel better?
I'm a huge bath person in general, which I feel like isn't super common, especially like at our age, but I love taking baths. And I've seen a lot of this on Instagram, and I haven't done it myself, but a lot of all the influencers that are so-called earthy that we follow have been posting that when their kids first get sick, they will do this, or when they first start feeling sick. But taking a bath and adding baking soda, Epsom salt, and some apple cider vinegar in there, the baking soda kind of helps neutralize toxins. Same thing with the apple cider vinegar. The Epsom salt, depending on which one you have, can help with the essential oils. It can also help relax your body and relax your muscles. And this will really help to just kind of pull the bacteria like out of you.
Yeah, super awesome. And it's just relaxing too, and like kind of taking in that restful side of things. Kind of a double whammy. We also talked like about eating certain foods, but like
Hmm.
really making sure that you are aiding your body in that healing process. And one of the best ways to do that is getting in certain nutrients through food. So if you have like an upset stomach, like if you're more on the flu side, you can eat bananas and rice
Yep.
to really calm down and just like ease your stomach. If you have cold and flu, again, high vitamin C, bell peppers, oranges, spinach, also chilies, like can
Mm-hmm.
really just like drain you out eating really spicy foods. And then if you have like mucus blockage, mustard and horseradish is really good for that. So I love finding like natural things that I would already kind of be eating, but then specifying it to how I'm feeling has been a really big help.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And I think that you have to think about the fact that when you're sick, your body is working overtime at trying to fight whatever that illness is. So anything you can do to make that easier on your body, the everyday things are doing, like we said, like resting, doing something relaxing, like taking a bath, eating foods that are just kind of helping calm your system and aid that is so helpful because your body's already working overtime.
Yeah.
And so you need to give it that ability to fight that infection and not also try to do everything that it normally does in your body too.
So true. Something I like think we could kind of hit on in like topic of conversation is the idea around fevers and
Mm-hmm.
like how our society has this view that fevers are so bad and we need to watch our fever. And the minute it hits 102, you have to rush to the emergency room.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case. And obviously, like, this is something you need to be so careful about. Cicely and I are not doctors. So, like, you have to please, like, consult your primary care doctor and
Yeah.
like if it is the case, yes, take yourself to the ER. But just the idea around fevers, and
Yeah.
fevers are your body's response to fighting infections. And yeah, they can be scary, but there's a reason our body's doing it, and there's a reason we have fevers in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think kind of changing our mentality around fevers and like not when you take your temperature and you're above 100, like not just taking Tylenol and Motrin to bring your temperature down, but why is your temperature up in the first place? And what is your body trying to do?
Yeah.
Sit in that fever for a little bit. Let your body kind of try to get over the sickness. And then it should like your body in that fever is really trying to like fight the infection. So pretty much mild fevers like around 104 are an indication of the body's immune system doing its job.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 like flat is not necessarily a bad thing, and you
Yeah.
don't need to get super concerned until you're up over 103.
Yeah. Yeah, once you're up over 103, see a doctor, reach
Mhm.
out to your local doctor, whatever. But around the 100.4, like Shayna mentioned, it's an indication that your body's immune system is working and it's doing what it is supposed to be doing. And there's other ways to help with a fever other than taking something. You can let yourself feel that fever, like Shayna said, but also get a cold rag, put that on your head,
Mhm.
put that on the back of your neck, things like that. Rest, like we keep saying, is just the
Sleep.
number one thing that you can do.
So your body's immune system only works really when you're sleeping, or like
Yeah.
not only works, maybe I should reword that, but like your body's immune system is best at fighting infections when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Because when you're awake, your body's trying to do all these things, you're talking, you're communicating, you're making things, you're walking around.
Yeah.
But when you're sleeping, your body's in that rest mode, and that's when it's fighting the infection. So, one, when you're sick, that's why you're tired because
Yeah.
your body's like, please go lay down so I can fix you. Like, it's really cool when we start to see and understand how our bodies work, and then we start to take note of that.
Yeah.
So, when you get sick and you start to feel tired, that's your body's response of being like, please go lay down so I can fix you and I can make you better.
Yeah.
So, take your body's cues, how you're feeling, and then don't try to fight it, but like
Hmm.
work with your body and the way you're feeling.
Yeah. Definitely listen to your body. And I'd say also just don't freak out when you first get sick because everyone is going to get sick at different times. You are going to get sick with the changing of the seasons. That is all natural. And really listen to your body and what works when you are sick so that you know next time, hey, like using eucalyptus oil really helped me. Like I can use that again next time. The local honey that I had, I feel like really helped my allergies. I'm going to use that again next time. And if you feel like something didn't work, then you try something different next time you're sick.
Totally. All of our bodies are different, and yeah,
Yeah.
trial and error. Kind of overarching, if you are someone who gets sick a lot, like
Hmm.
every couple weeks, or like it's just a common thing, some people get more sick than others.
Yeah.
That's an indication that you're not healthy.
Yeah.
You really should not be getting sick all the time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, you get, maybe you're one or two colds a year and that's it. But if
Hmm.
you are constantly getting sick, that really should be kind of like a light bulb moment that maybe other things in your life need to change.
Yeah.
Um, because your body should be able to fight most of it. Like, okay, you get a sore throat for 2 days and then you're over it.
Mm-hmm.
Your body was strong enough to be able to fight it, so you didn't get all the effects of being sick.
Yeah.
So there's things we can do beforehand, before we start to feel sick, to help make sure we don't get sick and make sure we have a strong immunity.
Yeah. And I would say too, if you are someone that you feel like you are really healthy, but yet you're still getting sick all the time, it might be an indication of something greater like mold or like your air vents need to be cleaned out or your air conditioning filter needs to be changed. There are things like that that naturally are polluting the environment around you. And so that's something that my mom has always been really good about. Like, hey, if you feel like you've been getting sick a lot, maybe check this, maybe watch for this. So I would say if you feel like you're healthy and you still get sick all the time, then you could also look to some of those other causes.
Yeah, those external factors.
Yeah.
And then also kind of take a deep dive in like looking into yourself.
Yeah.
Sleep is a big one all the time. So are
Mm-hmm.
you getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day? If
Yeah.
not, and if you're more on like the 5 to 6, your body's not able to reset and you're going to have a lower immune system.
Yep.
So that's a big one. And then we always talk about eating a well-balanced diet, but that's a really big thing.
Yeah. Lowering your sugar intake, that'll really help with your immune system. Processed sugars will lower your immune system super quickly. Increase the plant foods that you eat, increase really just all the foods that come straight from the earth. Those are going to be so good for you, and those are giving you the most vitamins, which will help with your immune system.
Yeah, and the most nutrients. If you are, and like we talk about this all the time, but if you're eating the standard American diet and everything out of packaged foods,
Yeah.
you're getting zero nutrients. If
Yeah.
your snack is Cheez-Its and goldfish and pretzels, there is, newsflash, zero nutrients in those foods.
Yeah.
And like the way that God created the earth and the way that we were designed, like he put all this food on earth that only like that we could digest, that gives us the nutrients we need to live. And
Yeah.
so kind of, again, I guess we're earthy, going back to that concept of eating foods that are nutrient dense and nutrient heavy so that you can be your healthiest self and fight off diseases, infections, sicknesses, colds.
Yeah. So we hope you guys learned something from this. Hopefully you have a couple things, yeah, that you can take away next time you start to feel sick or that you are sick. We wanted to just kind of do a deep dive into it because we both won't really take over the counter medicines. I will say if you have to take an antibiotic, there are certain cases where you're going to have to. There's other things you can do that support that. I put it out with me because I knew I wouldn't remember the name of it, but I take something called Therabiotic, and it is a short-term probiotic support. That really helps me when I take an antibiotic to just kind of keep my gut aligned and things in check because antibiotics will eat away at the lining in your stomach and different things. And so
you take that with your antibiotic.
yes, I'll take it at the end. Once I'm like, I think the last 2 days I start taking it of my antibiotic, and then I'll keep taking it after that in order to just kind of reinforce and get my gut back to where it was before I took the antibiotic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, like the way that Western medicine has come so far, like it is super cool and like the things that we have access to. But our biggest thing, and I think just changing our mindset around overall health and pharmaceutical companies is like there's other things we can reach to first.
Yeah.
And there's other things we can try to implement into our lives to change first. And as I've gone throughout like this health journey within the last year and a half, I've noticed myself, one, feeling 10 times better than I did before, and two, rarely getting sick. And I think that's because of the way that I'm now living my body and I'm able to fight the infections before it affects me. And so I think that these are like little things that everyone can kind of implement into their lives. If it's something, you want to be a healthier, an overall healthier person. So we hope you guys enjoyed the episode, learned something new, take something away as we get into the end of October. Hopefully you don't get sick. But it's kind of inevitable. And so there's things we can do to make ourselves feel better.
Yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed. If there's any episodes that you guys want to hear coming up, we have a bunch of ideas for them, but also are so open to whatever you guys want to learn more about. If you have any questions for us, DM us on Instagram at continuously refine. You can also DM us on any of our personal Instagrams.
Yeah. We just love researching and sharing this stuff with you guys, getting the word out there. So thanks so much for listening, and we can't wait to keep continuing our lives together. Bye.
Bye.